Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing a short little tutorial on how I make my coiled earrings. These are a really big hoop that I have done for a lot of celebrities actually. You've probably seen these on the red carpet. Today I'm going to show you a slightly smaller, more everyday version, and you can make these in any size at your studio. So if you do want to make a crazy large version, you can do that too from this tutorial. I'm going to start with some plain brass wire, which I got from Rio Grande. This is 12 gauge, and I purchased this in dead soft, so I'm able to manipulate this a little bit as I create the hoop shape, but then I will work harden it with my rawhide mallet. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this guy, just get a nice length of this. I usually will grab at least a foot. And my favorite Kiva clippers, if you have watched my past videos, you know this is one of my essential tools. Not sponsored, just have to have them. So you're gonna go ahead and clip off a good length of this, at least a foot, and grab a mandrel. I am going to use this round mandrel that I have. So the first thing I'll do is I will hold one side really firmly with my thumb, and then I will coil this piece all the way around as tight as I can, holding it and crunching it down. So as you guys can see, I'm going to hold this down and I'm going to try to keep all of these coils as close as possible. Hit each side and hold it firmly with my hand, and then I'm going to hammer this with my rawhide mallet. No matter what, this spring is going to open and push down. So wherever you're holding it, just know your final hoop is going to be maybe 2 inches larger down this mandrel, because once I release this, even though I am trying to work hard in it and I am trying to hold it into place, it is still going to expand as I move this down the mandrel. So there you go, it moved down just a little bit as you can see. Now I'll pull it off and I'll have this nice, beautiful circle shape. This is a perfect shape to make two. So as you can see, these ends right here, they kind of fly off the coil. So these are perfectly rounded in either side. As you can see, the ends of the hoop are not exactly perfectly curved. So I will not be using those as a part of my hoop. I'm actually going to cut through and clip these 2 little ends off that are not perfectly curved around, so that I can make sure my coil is nicely rounded on both ends. Okay, Kiva clippers again. It's going to be a really easy clip on both sides. And when I do it, I now have kind of created this nice line right here. If you're not great at knowing exactly where a line is on your piece, you can always mark this with a permanent marker and just put a little line that goes straight down. Take your ruler, mark it, and then clip it. But since I've been doing this for a while, I am going to just go ahead and clip these all the way down. And now I'm going to have this little coil. And the way that I make mine, you can do them perfectly parallel like this, but I like mine to kind of fan out a little bit so that when you do have it on your ear, so that I feel like I have just a little bit more space around the ear to make it feel, again, just a little bit more sculptural. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to want to soften both of these ends, because right now they have this little sharp peak from the clippers. Even though these clippers do cut flush, no matter what, they're going to have a little bit of a rough spot. And anytime you make an earring, you want to make sure there are absolutely no sharp ends, because that is going to scratch your face if you're wearing them, your customer's face. So we really need to make sure that when we do a field test on this guy, that we don't feel anything sharp. So I'm going to take this over to my flux shaft and I'm going to soften this up real quick. So I'll use my flux shaft with the black silicone wheel to just kind of soften that, give it a quick little field test. Everything feels good, and then I'll take this back to my soldering bench to put a post in. Just remember, anytime that you are soldering, you want a nice clean surface. So since I just used my black wheel, I'm going to make sure that I wash that off with water so that I have a nice clean surface to work on. And I am going to go ahead and put this coil hoop in my third hand. And which I love the name of that. I was like, it's a perfect name because it truly is a third hand. I'm pretty sure it's called third hand. And then I will grab my flux. I'm just going to use this Dandex flux, add a little water, and put just one little spot there. That's going to help my solder seam flow really nicely. I'm also going to use a medium solder today because I have only one post. So with the medium solder, that post is going to be nice and strong. That solder is going to take a little bit longer to melt than it would with easy, but it is going to be a lot stronger. And I am going to use a sterling silver post. I'll link all these products in the description in case you want to buy them. But I like these types that have like a teeny tiny step in them, like a flat step, especially when I'm soldering up against another flat piece. It just helps the seam be a little bit stronger and a little bit more stable. I'm using my Smith's torch that I got from Rio Grande. It's a really nice little small torch, but you can absolutely do this with a butane torch from the hardware store, just a handheld smaller torch. I just get a nice little small flame because this piece is not super big. And then this is the earring back that I'm going to be using. It's sterling silver with that little step. I go over here, I'll pick up my medium solder real quick onto the end of that guy. And I'm gonna have to warm this bad boy up a little bit to get this guy to move onto it. And once it flows, you'll have this nice little post on the end of this coil. Last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my black wheel one more time and I'm just gonna smooth that solder seam off. If I'm not plating this piece, I'm also gonna take off any fire scale at this point. Since I did take that black wheel to my hoop, I'm going to go ahead and give it kind of an all-over finish with this wire brush. That's going to kind of make it feel a little bit more uniform. You always want to remember that if you hit one piece of your piece with something that makes it a little bit more matte, you're going to need to do that all around the entire piece to kind of make it all feel the same. You want the same finish over the whole piece. If you are plating these and you're not doing it in the raw brass, raw silver, or raw copper, don't worry about the fire scale. Just make sure the finish is completely the same texture. Don't worry about the color, but the texture has to be the same. So if it's matte in one spot, the whole piece has to be matte. If it's shiny in one spot, the whole piece has to be shiny. Because I have a rotary tumbler here, I will throw this in my tumbler to get a final all-over finish. And then I'm going to throw that in for about 10 minutes and I'll be back with the finished piece. So this is what your finished earring is going to look like when it comes out. It's this really cool little coil shape. I can show you what it looks like in the ear. This is kind of a medium-sized one. So if you guys can see, it's really cute. It hangs really good. It's really light. It's just a really nice hoop. These do really well at craft fairs and stuff because it's like, gives you a lot of bang for your buck. This is kind of a medium version, but you can do a tiny huggy version. You can do a huge version. It's really a piece that you can kind of make a lot from. But yeah, just one thing to remember with these, as always with earrings, they should be a pair. So this is the side that should be for the left side. But if you see, if I put it in the right side of my ear, it doesn't work because of the way that this coil is. So I will show you, see how if you put the same earring on the left side, it's like, it doesn't hang well. So if you're doing this on the left side, all you're gonna do is you're gonna flip the coil the opposite direction and make sure that the post is over on the other side. So always pay attention when you are making a pair of hoops like this that has kind of a sculptural design, that you are going to have to make two versions kind of, one for the right side, one for the left side. I hope you guys like this project. Let me know if there's any other pieces from my collection that you'd like me to do a tutorial for, and I will definitely try to do it. Thanks guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe.